Hi there, I'm Taylor.
I'm Vince.
And we are the chefs of anime.
So today we're going to be working on a wonderful recipe from Final Fantasy, and today we've got the bacon bread, which honestly I'm really excited to make. What do you think about bacon, Taylor?
Usually it ends up being the star of whatever dish you put it in because it's just bacon. Bacon flavors everything throughout a dish when it's used, but here it actually seems like it's going to be a little bit more of a supporting actor.
We are going to go with the bacon bread from the book, and it's from the regional cuisine of La Nocia. La Nocia. La Nocia.
Lenosha?
Lenosha!
Lenosha?
Whatever, astrologian. Before we get into the book, I want to make sure to give a quick shout out to Walking Dark Records for giving us the DMCA-free, copyright-free music for content creators. And also, I want to go ahead and just let you know, if you like all the stuff that we're doing, please make sure you subscribe to the red button.
And if you want to know when the next videos come up to the past, go ahead and hit the bell.
Great. So, let's get started with the small little reading from our little Namazu fish dude. He says about the bacon bread, I learned this recipe for bacon bread while training at the Bismarck, but why is it patterned into the shape of wheat? Which honestly I didn't realize till just now. I am still learning new things about cooking every day. Yes, but I was certain that bacon was not grown from the ground. I wanted to ask the head chef, but the last time I asked a bad question, he made me do all the dishes. I think it's best I take his word for it. So we're not going to question why it's shaped like this at all, and bacon definitely doesn't grow from the ground, but it'll definitely be a part in our bread today. So without further ado, let's get started.
Let's go. And to start off our bacon bread today, we are going to have to get going on our dough. So to do that, we're going to have 2 3/4 cup or 430 grams of all-purpose flour, a half cup or 75 grams of whole wheat flour, and a teaspoon of salt. So we have our flour here, add in our wheat flour, and then salt. And then I am just going to whisk until that's all nice and blended together.
Next, we're going to need a large pan. We're going to combine some oat milk and water together. So let's go ahead and pull up our heat. And we'll have our pot right here. So the amount of water that we're going to need is going to be at about 1 cup or 250 milliliters. And then something a little different, oat milk, which is going to be 125 milliliters or 1.5 or just a half a cup. Then what we're going to do is that we are going to basically set the pan over medium-low heat until the mixture registers at about 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius. And then we're going to add the yeast into it and let it bloom for about 5 minutes. Then we'll end up pouring the mixture into the bowl a little bit later with the flour mixture from before. You do want to keep in mind that when you heat up the milk water mixture that you have to take into account for ambient temperature. So make sure that when you are boiling or bringing up this mixture to temp, that you may get a higher rating. So right now it's looking at 126.5. Turn off the heat, let it cool down a bit to about 100 degrees, that 38 degrees Celsius. And it's okay if you bring it down. You don't want to kill the yeast when we pour it in. You want to make it bloom. We let the mixture get down to about 100 degrees after breaking it up to about the 120. We turned off the heat, let it cool down a bit, and now we're gonna go ahead and add our yeast. Like I said before, make sure you let this bloom for about 5 minutes, put it in, sprinkle it around, and then you can just lightly incorporate it, stirring it up a little bit, and we'll let that rest for about 5 minutes. And once the yeast is bloom, we're going to incorporate it in with the flour mixture that we had earlier. Going to take this and basically pour it right in. Now we get to use our hands. It's going to get a little messy, but you want it to move and work this until it just starts forming into a dough. Well, It looks nasty.
It's dough, my guy. I'm glad you're enjoying this.
I'm so glad you're doing this part.
And once you have a dough that has just come together, you're going to take your work surface and just lightly spread some flour out, and we are going to start kneading. And after 10 minutes of kneading on our dough, it actually has come together really, really nicely. So now we're just going to form that into a ball, put it into an oiled bowl, cover it up, and let it sit for about an hour to an hour and a half. And the way I've seen people make those into balls is we're going to fold over, and pinch down, just bring in. And now we let it go to rest for about an hour to an hour and a half.
It's been an hour and a half so far, and we went ahead and retrieved our little doughboy that we named Stinky, and he has grown up. He's quite huge, actually. He's really, really big. We put him in the laundry room. I mean, not that you should put any child or doughboy named Stinky in the laundry room, but it was a nice, warm place that wasn't gonna, basically ruin the dough. So we let the dough rise. It looks fantastic. It's just as big as this whole entire bowl. And honestly, I'm so proud of Stinky. I'm just very proud of this doughboy. But let's cut him up and start getting to rolling.
So with our risen dough now out of we chose our laundry room. It worked great. I floured the surface here, and I floured an additional pan, just so I can set them aside while they go for a second rise after I'm done manipulating the dough this time. I'm just gonna see if I can gently turn our boy out here. And look at that gorgeousness. So we are gonna wanna knead it, but not too much, just a few times. Now, I'm going to cut it into as close to 4 equal portions as I can. I'm going to try and get these into 4 balls. All right, and with our dough rolled out into 4 relatively equally sized balls here, we're going to go ahead, cover them up with our handy kitchen towel, and they're going to rest for another 20 minutes.
For our next step, you're going to want to make sure you grab a pot of water, fill it about halfway, turn it on to high heat, and let this boil. We're going to be boiling some bacon very, very soon to add in to the bacon bread. Let that go. Don't watch it because it'll never boil. After you brought a large pot to boil, you're going to want to go ahead and grab 8 pieces of bacon, and then you're going to boil the bacon. I know that's a little weird. I was like, what? When I first saw it. But hey, whatever. 5 minutes is how long we're going to go ahead and let this bacon boil. And then you want to make sure you grab a bowl and line it with some paper towels so that it's ready to go as you fish out this bacon with some tongs. After 5 minutes have passed, you're going to notice that your bacon is bubbling and will probably make your entire house smell like bacon water. You won't need it, so get rid of it as soon as you are done pulling the bacon out of the water. You want to get that lined bowl of paper towels set right here. Just transfer, nothing too crazy. In the meantime, after you go ahead and grab all the bacon out of the water, you want to make sure that you are going to get a baking sheet, line it with some parchment paper, because we're going to move on to the next step here and start assembling everything together. Nice boiled bacon.
And now once we have our bacon boiled, 20 minutes has passed, and you can see our dough balls have risen yet again. So we're going to take these, and we're going to want to flatten them out so that they are long enough for one strip and wide enough for 2.5 strips. Alright, so now that we've got our dough in a good place, we're going to take some stone ground mustard and we're going to just apply a nice smooth layer all over up to about a 1/2 inch away from the sides. With that done, I'll grab 2 slices of bacon. Lay them so that they're side by side. And then we're going to make a nice tight roll. Pinch off the ends so that they're sealed up. And now we're done. After each one of these is done, you'll have a parchment-lined baking sheet standing by. Take your finished roll, set them down, and now I'm going to go for another 40-minute rest. I'm going to continue making and filling out the rest of these other 4, and we will catch back up with you on the next step. And after an additional 40 minutes under a kitchen cloth in a nice warm spot, we see they have grown up even a little bit more. Now we are ready for the baking process, but before we go in the oven, you're going to want to get an oven-safe dish, some kind of pie plate or ramekin, something that you have filled with about a cup of water. So when you put these in, that cup, the water will go in the oven with it. But we have to make them look like wheat. So we got a pair of scissors, and we're just going to make a couple of cuts about every 2 inches. Or so it says. So we're going to just guesstimate. That looks pretty good. You're going to want to cut, but not go all the way through. And there we have it. Now we are ready to go. These are going to go into the oven with that water. After we do just a little sprinkle of water on them beforehand. Now they'll go into the oven, set at 450 degrees with that other 1 cup of water that we have set aside for 10 minutes. We'll pull them out, brush them with a little butter, put on a little salt, 10 more minutes, and we'll be done. After our first set of 10 minutes, they are looking absolutely gorgeous. But we're gonna make them even better. Got a light brush here, some melted butter, and some of our flaky sea salt. Just gonna dip this down, get it nice and wet. And be generous here. These are meant for tanks. They're supposed to be hardy. And immediately after spreading some of your butter on, go ahead and take some of your flaky sea salt. Entirely optional, but we think it's gonna be fun. Just give a little sprinkle on top of each. There we go. Now each one has gotten a nice little coating of butter and salt. Time to go back in the oven for another 10 minutes.
And there you have it, guys. We decided to go ahead and plate this and just bring this right away to the center. Like, this is probably one of the most gorgeous things we have ever made before. I'm not a baker, but this is amazing. I really wish I can show how like golden brown this is. When he cut it, I was floored. I was amazed. I was like, that's how they do it. And honestly, compared to the bread, it's pretty spot on. We just took it out of the oven probably
Yeah.
about like 5 minutes ago. So we just gotta let it sit. Now that we have the bacon bread all set and ready to go, let's just go ahead and bake
Cook
it. Yeah. This looks really good. That one's your side and this one's mine.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go break in.
This I don't know. Can you even see this? This is so good. Look at this. It's golden. It smells nice and rich.
That mustard really perfumed it. There's not a lot of bacon smell in there. It's mostly the mustard.
It's very flaky already. So let's go ahead. Cheers. I don't like mustard really at all, but this is really good. Holy wow.
This is good. Wow.
This is really nice. There's a nice crunch. The bread is just wonderfully flaky. It's just soft and delicious.
The biggest part that surprised me is the outside is nice and like you can hear it.
Yeah, it's pretty hard on the outside, but it's
But once
just
you
a
bite
crunch.
into it, it's extraordinarily soft. And the bacon is there. It plays a role. It's got a protein in there, and you can taste it a little bit. But it really is perfumed mostly by that mustard, and it's not overly powerful. It's just nice and kind of mellow. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's good. It really is good. It's a really nice thing to have. I would absolutely see having this aside some other larger dinner, maybe a stew. But it's not a flavor bomb. It's not something that just blows me away. So I'm still gonna give it a solid 7.5.
Yeah, I would definitely probably give it a 7, personally. I think it would be a wonderful complementary to any of the stews in the cookbook. Maybe a nice salad on the side too as well. Maybe I would probably go with like a sweeter dressing to kind of balance out the mustardy flavor. But otherwise, it's just really good. I've never made bread before in my life.
Oh, it's fun.
Oh, this is fantastic. This is really fun. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on in today and watching another episode of Chefs of Anime. If you'd like to try this bread out, if you try it out at home, please let us know in the comments. If you want us to go ahead and make any other recipe within the book, by all means, leave a comment. Let us know what you like. And if you like any of the stuff that we've been making with the food, you can see all the appliances behind us. We'll go ahead and leave links in the comments below. Check them out. Thanks again to Walking Dog Records for giving us the wonderful copyright-free, DMC-free music that you've been hearing in the episode today. And as always, if you liked what you saw, please go ahead and subscribe to the red button below. And then please tip us with a like.
And if you want to know when the next videos are coming out, make sure to hit the bell.
Once again, I'm Vince,
I'm Taylor.
and we're the Chefs of Anime. Have a good night. I love the bacon. It's so good.